Okay, so we're all pretty used to AI that talks back to us, right? Well, get ready for the next big thing. We're talking about AI that doesn't just respond, it acts on its own. This is the shift from a passive chatbot to a true autonomous agent, and it's a huge deal. Let's get into it. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with how we got here. Then we'll peek under the hood to see how these agents actually think. After that, we'll look at where they're showing up in the real world, how they're built, and yeah, we've got to talk about the risks that come with this kind of power.
All right, first up, the AI we know. To really get what's so different now, we have to take a quick look back at how AI has evolved. It's a journey that's led us right to this moment.
You know, for a long time, AI was basically a fortune teller. It looked at a bunch of old data and tried to predict what would happen next, but it couldn't actually do anything about it. Then, bam, generative AI hits the scene. Think ChatGPT. Suddenly, AI is creative, it can write, it can code, but you still have to tell it exactly what to do step by step. It's reactive. The big leap, the one we're talking about today, is to agentic AI. This is where the AI gets a goal and just goes. It plans, it decides, it executes, all on its own. No hand-holding required. And this quote from Treddins just nails it. It says, "Imagine handing over your car keys to a robot that not only drives, but also decides when to change your oil, schedules maintenance appointments, and negotiates with the mechanics for the best price, all while you sleep." I mean, think about that. You're not telling it how to do something. You're giving it a high-level job. Take care of my car, and it figures out the rest. It's the difference between being a micromanager and a real delegator. So let's put it this way. Generative AI, like ChatGPT, it's like a brilliant intern. Super smart, can do amazing things, but you have to keep giving it instructions for every step. And agentic AI, on the other hand, that's your star project manager. You give it the project goal, walk away, and it comes back when it's all done, having figured out all the messy steps in between by itself. It takes initiative. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how does it actually work? Like, what's going on inside this thing's brain that lets it be so autonomous? Let's pull back the curtain and take a look. So, what is an AI agent really? The simplest way to think about it is that it's software that mimics a person. It has senses to take in information from its world, like emails or data feeds. It's got a brain to think and make decisions. And it has limbs or connections to other tools to actually take action. Senses, brain, and limbs. That's the core idea.
And this all happens in a constant loop, kind of like a reflex. First, there's perception. The agent sees something, maybe a new email comes in. Step 2, memory. It instantly checks its memory for any relevant context. Then, step 3 is planning. Okay, based on this new email and what I already know, what's my multi-step plan? Step 4 is execution. This is where it actually does the work, connecting to other apps or systems. And finally, the most important part, feedback. Did it work? Did I achieve the goal? It learns from that success or failure, so it gets smarter for next time. And this loop just keeps on running.
Now, that memory part is super important. And there are two kinds. You've got working memory, which is basically short-term. It's like remembering the last thing you said in a conversation. It's temporary. But the real magic is in the persistent memory. This is its long-term memory. Thanks to some cool tech like vector databases, it can remember things about you, your preferences, and past projects, not just for one conversation, but for weeks, months, forever, really. That's the game changer. All right, enough with the theory. This stuff isn't just a concept in a lab. It's already out there in the real world, making a huge impact. So let's talk about where you can actually find these agents today. Check out this number from Gartner. It's pretty wild. They're predicting that by 2029, agentic AI is going to handle 80% of common customer service issues all on its own. And we're not just talking about a smarter chatbot. We're talking about an agent that sees your package is delayed, reroutes it, and notifies you, maybe before you even notice there was a problem. That's a whole different level of service. And companies are not sleeping on this. Just look at this adoption curve from Deloitte. It is moving fast. By 2025, a quarter of big companies already using GenAI are expected to be running agentic AI pilots. And just 2 years after that, in 2027, That number is set to double to 50%. This isn't some far-off future tech, it's happening right now.
And it's not just one industry. It's popping up everywhere. Think about customer service, where an agent from Amazon might not just answer a question, but help you find exactly what you need. In supply chain, you've got DHL using agents to reroute entire fleets to avoid bad weather. In finance, JP Morgan has agents snipping out fraud in the blink of an eye. Even in healthcare, places like the Mayo Clinic are exploring how agents can help with patient care. It's touching pretty much every corner of the economy. Okay, so if you're a developer, how do you actually build one of these things? You don't just start from scratch. There's a whole toolbox of frameworks and protocols out there. Let's take a quick peek at the building blocks, right? So there's not just one way to build an agent. It's more like picking the right tool for the job. If you need a process with a lot of control, where every step is defined, you might use something like LangGraph. If you need a team of AIs to work together, say one to do research and another to write a report, you'd look at Crew AI. And then there's something like AutoGen from Microsoft, which is basically like putting a bunch of AI agents into a group chat and letting them brainstorm a solution together. Different tools for different tasks.
And for any of this to work, these agents have to talk to each other and to their tools, right? That's where communication standards or protocols come in. The first one is MCP. Think of it like the USB-C port for AI. It's a standard way for a single agent to plug into all its different tools and data. It's all about tool use. Then you have A2A, which is the agent-to-agent protocol. This is like the conference call for AI. It's how different agents, maybe even from completely different companies, can get on the same page and work together on a problem. It's all about teamwork.
But look, we can't talk about all this incredible power without talking about the risks. This much autonomy is, well, it's a double-edged sword, so we have to be clear-eyed about the challenges. Which brings us to the big, flashing question mark hanging over all of this. With this much autonomy, what are the risks? What happens when things go wrong? And they can go wrong if we're not extremely careful. The ethical minefield here is huge. Think about bias. If the data an agent is trained on is biased, the agent will be too, just at an incredible scale. And what about accountability? Seriously, if an autonomous agent messes up and costs you a ton of money, who's on the hook? The developer? The company? You? It's a total mess to figure out. And then there's the whole black box issue. Sometimes we literally can't see why an agent made a certain decision. How do you trust that? And beyond the ethics, you have the straight-up operational risks. What happens if there's a bug and an agent just goes rogue? Or worse, what if a hacker gets control of an agent that's connected to a supply chain or a financial market? That's terrifying. There's also the human side of this. We could become so over-reliant on them that our own skills start to fade. And just imagine, an army of agents could create and spread misinformation at a speed and scale we've never seen before.
So that's the big picture. Agentic AI is coming, and it's going to change, well, probably everything. The promise of efficiency is massive, but the risks are just as real. So as these agents become our coworkers, our collaborators, and maybe even our competitors, the real question we have to ask ourselves is this: how are we going to redefine our own roles in a world that they help run? That's the question we'll all be answering sooner than we think.